A warm hello and welcome back to the Mockingbird Show. Today is a book reading session from the first 5 years, Decoding Childhood, Empowering Parenthood, and this is going to be part 8 of this book reading series. And today I've taken out a very interesting chapter from my book, The First 5 Years, which is Understanding Child Psychology through Erik Erikson's Psychosocial Theory, Birth to 5 Years. So this theory is very important for early childhood educators and those who deal with children in the early childhood years, because Erik Erikson told us a lot about how a child's psychology is shaped by the socio environmental conditions around the child. So let me read out the first part. Understanding how children develop psychologically is vital to shaping environment that nurture their emotional, cognitive, and social well-being. One of the most influential voices in developmental psychology is Erik Erikson, who contributed immensely to this understanding with his theory of psychosocial development. And Erikson was a German-American developmental psychologist and a psychoanalyst, and is best known for introducing the concept of identity crisis. So this is very interesting because he talked about 8 distinct stages of development of a person's psychology, and I would be telling you about the 3 stages, which are stage 1, 2, and 3, which starts from 0 years to 5 years. So as early childhood educators and parents of children in the early childhood years, I would like to talk about only these stages, and I've done so in the book so that we understand how important these initial years are for a child's life. So stage 1 is trust versus mistrust, and it is from 0 to 1.5 years, and this is the foundational stage where the infant's basic needs are taken care by the caregiver. So the caregiver can be a mother, it can be any other member of the family, it can be an outsider. So whoever is giving care to the child, they play a very vital role. So during this time, if the caregivers are consistent, they're responsive to the child's need. When the child is hungry, the child would cry. So the caregiver needs to pay attention and give the child the food or whatever the child needs, cater to the child's need, and be responsive and consistent in their nurturing. So if this is done, then the child will be more psychologically stronger, in terms of they would understand that the world is a good place, the world is a reliable place, because everything is new for them. And when they get response and love and touch, there's an innate need of touch for children in their first 4 months, and because the children cannot see, what they want is the touch of the mother or the caregiver. So they have blurred vision in the initial few months, and they are not able to recognize the facial features of their mother or their father or the other family members, and so they heavily rely on caress, touch, warmth. So a child who is consistently kept in a cot and who is not given enough touch and warmth will not have very positive enjoyments, in terms of they will not have very positive feeling of security, because they will feel that they are abandoned. So it is very important that in the first 0 to 1.5 years, the caregiver is warm, responsive, and caregiving is skin to skin contact, consistent feeding, and comforting. So we often see that in our Indian families, when a new mother she feels overwhelmed because there's so much of care that we need to give, and so we have our family members who come and help out, and we can understand that it is very difficult for the primary caregiver to be consistently with the child at all times, but this is a time where we need to be patient and we need to spend a lot of time with them and give them a lot of love. So moving on to the second stage, which Erik Erikson named the autonomy versus shame and doubt, which is 1.5 to 2 to 3 years. So 1.5 years, the child doesn't come to a preschool, but ideally from 2.5 years, the child comes into the preschool, and the toddler is away from home for the first time. So as toddlers begin to explore their independence, feeding themselves, choosing clothes, engaging in toilet training, they seek to assert control over the environment. So when a child is just 1.5 years and across 2 years or 2.5 years up to 3 years, we can see that the child wants to dress up as they would like to. They want to eat things they like to touch and feel different things, and also they start learning the toilet habits. So this is a time which is a time of struggle for the child, because they have come from the stage where a caregiver is giving them consistent care. Now they are a bit independent, so they develop autonomy. And while they're developing autonomy, if the child is encouraged to take their decisions, to choose their own clothes, allow them to touch, feel things, allow them to explore and assess outcomes, they become more confident, they become more autonomous, and they have more self-control. While on the other hand, if a parent is all the time stopping the child from doing anything because of the scare that the child might hurt himself or herself and etc., then the child will not develop autonomy. They would develop a feeling of inadequacy, and they will feel that their efforts are overly criticized and restricted, for which reason they will develop shame, in the same sense that they will not have the motivation to do something. So that way we will see a lot of negative outcomes happening to the child. So we need to develop their independence, encourage them to make their own choices, and this is going to help the child to develop autonomy versus shame and doubt. So third stage is initiative versus guilt, which is from 3 to 5 years. So during the preschool years, children develop initiative through play, curiosity, interaction. This is the age of why, when children begin to take charge, initiate tasks, and assume leadership in play. So here, from 3 years, we can see that children start to play in team, they form groups. So when they are 2 to 3 years, they generally do not play in groups, they play individually. So that is what I have seen in most of our classrooms, which is the play group classroom. And here children are individually playing with a toy of their choice, and they do not cooperate and collaborate and play together. So they try to discover things around them alone. But when they reach about 3 years to 3.5 years, they start making friendship, they start talking with their peers, they start choosing their peers who are their best friends and all, and they start communicating. So here the child starts to take charge, and here if the initiative is encouraged, the child develops leadership skills, they develop initiative, they feel more purposeful. So they need to be encouraged to express themselves, they need to be encouraged to ask questions, and if they ask questions, we should be ready to answer them. So here, when initiative is kind of promoted, initiative is encouraged, we can see that the child becomes more confident, the child is more driven to learn something new, the child is able to take calculated risks. So this way we are going to see positive outcomes. But at the same time, if we stop this initiative and we make them feel guilty about certain things they can't do. For instance, now a child who is wanting to sit in a three-wheeler, maybe in the school or at home, and they're trying to sit and paddle, say. So when they're trying to paddle, we need to encourage them to help themselves paddle and not shame them if they are not able to do it. So if we shame them, that initiative becomes a guilt feeling, and they would not want to take another initiative because of the shame that they might feel on not being able to do that task properly. So we have to be scaffolding them. We need to help them and allow them that time to figure out how to do a thing. So we need to, kind of stop controlling them, stop shutting them down, stop scolding them. So at this stage, it is very important that children who asks even questions that don't make any sense actually need to be encouraged to ask more questions and not shamed for those questions. So we as educators, we as parents need to be very, very careful about how we are supporting the child to develop initiative and not turning that initiative into a feeling of guilt. So these are so important. Trust versus mistrust, autonomy versus shame and doubt, and initiative versus guilt. Now, if it's child who is always made to feel guilty in the early childhood years about a choice they made, and if a child says that I want to wear this dress, and the parent is continuously telling the child that this is not a good dress, you should not wear it, and the child actually loses the capacity to become independent, to take their own decision, and the confidence to form an opinion. So that actually negatively affects the child, and they would not develop initiative. So here we need to see that these crucial years of a child's life, up to I have read up to 5 years, because after that again the stages become broader, they become bigger, and the age group is also bigger here. But look at this, out of the 8 stages that Erik Erikson has talked about, we are dealing with the 3 stages in our preschool years. I mean, the parents from birth to 3 or 5 years is very crucial, and for preschool from 2 years, when the child comes into the preschool, that's a very, very crucial stage. So we are dealing with children who are forming the brain architecture, forming their personality, forming their traits which would stay with them for their entire lives, their personality and the character, which is we talk about. So education is only a little part of their entire being. The entire being is shaped by a lot of things in the environment, which is where the child is subject to, and for which reason we need to be very, very careful. So here I would like to read out that these first 3 psychosocial stages are deeply intertwined with how a child perceives themselves and the world. Where children are loved, encouraged, and guided through these stages, they develop a strong, resilient identity. Conversely, unmet psychosocial needs may manifest as behavioral, emotional, or social challenges in later life. So Erik Erikson's psychosocial theory is in our courses where we teach early childhood educators about child psychology, how child psychology is formed, and we give our trainings through IMTA, International Montessori Teacher Training Academy, and we train teachers both on online and offline mode. So anybody who is interested to take up courses of IMTA can get in touch with us. And we have 3 months, 6 months, 1 year courses. We also have 1 month integrated, 1 week, short term on different subjects and different topics that we do. So our courses are very recognized, and there are a lot of students who have passed out from IMTA, the International Montessori Teacher Training Academy, and I have lately been teaching students from Imphal, from Nepal. So we do these courses online, but when somebody is in town in Guwahati or invites our resource persons to train them in their schools, we very happily do that for them. And I would like to end this session with a quote by Erik Erikson. It reads, "There is in every child at every stage a new miracle of vigorous unfolding, which constitutes a new hope and a new responsibility for all." With this note, I end this session, this book reading session of my book, The First 5 Years, Decoding Childhood, Empowering Parenthood. Try to grab a copy of the book and join me again next time in the Mockingbird Show, and share these videos forward to your friends, to fellow educators, to parents, to anybody who may be interested to watch and help us grow, because we are trying to do something for our young parents, for our early childhood educators, that would influence the children who are growing up with us. So thank you so much for being a part of the Mockingbird Show. See you again next week. Until then, stay happy, stay blessed.